So a little bit about Zeta. Zeta is a MarTech player and an agency. So we play on both the acquisition and the CRM side. So we help companies, Fortune 100 companies, acquire customers and retain and grow their revenues from them. So we have the strengths of our offerings are basically we have one of the largest permission databases of almost 600 million people and whom we target through email, display, and social. The other thing is we also have our product offering, which is the hub, and which allows us to compete with Adobe, Salesforce, etc., on a one-to-one basis. The thing is today, what I'm here to talk about is not any of those. What I'm here to talk about is an optimization gap that we uncovered in the campaign optimization space. Basically, my team works with a lot of advertisers, and through these constant interactions with them, we were able to find a potential optimization gap that was actually unmet until this solution. And that's what I'm here to talk about. And the thing is, there's a lot of noise about AI, ML, all that stuff. I'm a practitioner. I don't like this noise. Okay, this is a lot of hand waving, etc. while I'm waving my hands here. So the thing is, I'd like to make some of these concepts real to you, and that's what I'm going to talk about here. Okay, so again, I mean, my group's mandate and my company's mandate is to acquire customers at as low cost as possible for our advertisers and retain and grow revenues from them as efficiently as possible. I manage the data science team. So, so why are we here? So, I mean, it goes without saying that experience is the currency of marketing today. Okay, the last few years with the proliferation of data, science, and models and AI, etc., they've changed the whole marketing landscape. Some of the major industry leaders who operate right out of the valley actually are successfully using data, content, apps, etc., to provide individual and relevant experiences. But has marketing kept up? Maybe, you know. So, for example, there are three key levers with any marketing campaign, and so you have the who you target. Okay, and again, this is the only slide of the equations, so that's you're seeing the worst. The who you target. Basically, the state of the art in marketing is that whenever you're running a campaign, be it an acquisition or a CRM campaign, you start with the kind of customers you're trying to generate, and then try to build a model which predicts what, or at least describes the characteristics of these people, and then you go and find those people. That's the who. And the state of the art in modeling is, yes, this is done by predictive models, random forest models, everything under this. I mean, and by the way, I mean, if people talk about AI and RF models, etc., it's okay to not glaze over. I mean, these are 50 to 60-year-old techniques. They're just rehashing these and then plugging them as new. But the essential core of this is that these are basic models to describe people, and that's already being done. The other piece is which channels do you use to target these guys? I mean, is it do you scale more on email and do you scale less on display? I mean, that is also being solved for by these techniques from the world of industrial engineering called mixed integer programming and statistics called multivariate analysis. That's also being taken care of. And you know what you send these customers or what you send these prospects, you know, the marketing collateral, the creative layout, etc., that is also being solved for by using multivariate testing. You know, you have vendors out there talking about running multiple multivariate tests, etc. You have approaches called multi-arm bandits which help you achieve these results faster. This is all being done. What is not being done? But not a lot of work is or attention is being paid to the actual messaging that's being actually sent to the people. I mean, so what you have here is, these are actually ads that I've seen or messages that I've received, and I'm not going to confirm or deny whether some of these guys are our customers. I think Diane will be happy. But for example, the Southwest, I mean, sorry. So, I mean, the messaging, everything highlighted here. The leftmost ad is an email creative. The top and bottom ones are display ads. And the rightmost one is a Gmail inbox. The middle two are social ads. Everything highlighted in yellow is copy, is marketing language. Currently, it's being built or designed using some combination of experience, gut, you know, maybe some anecdotal evidence, okay, and a little bit of A/B testing. There's not a lot of attention being paid to using scientific to design this content. And that's what I'm here to talk about. This is the optimization gap. This is the optimization gap we surfaced in our conversations with our clients. We built a pilot on 2 clients to actually prove that this can be also solved for using, again, for a better word, AI. So what do we do? So, okay. We tried to answer 2 main questions for our clients, okay? And those were, are we able to identify the words or phrases that actually identify whether or lead to outperformance or underperformance of your copy relative to a baseline? Are you able to identify these words or phrases? The idea is once you identify these words or phrases, you're able to design and build better copy in the future for your upcoming campaigns. That was one of our goals. The second goal we had was also actually to predict the performance of copy even before your campaign is live. What if I told you that, okay, this subject line is likely to underperform before your campaign was live? Then you wouldn't waste that spend on it. You would actually dedicate that volume to an outperforming subject line. This happens to me regularly. Some of the campaigns we manage, they would regularly send 100 million emails and in a few weeks, in a week or so, spread across 5 to 7 subject lines. If I knew that one of those subject lines was underperforming, I would actually send more of the volume to the outperforming one. That's what we're trying to solve. 2 things. And how do we go about this? Off-the-shelf algorithms. Okay, folks, off-the-shelf algorithms. Okay, the other thing I'd like to give you as a practitioner is everything that's being sold by most vendors is available in an open source setting. You just need to know where to look and who to ask. Okay, all we did was, okay. So there is since we're dealing with words and phrases here, right? So we need to decide which techniques to use. There is a field, this is a 30 to 40-year-old field called natural language processing. It actually falls deep within AI and ML and data science. What it does is allows you to parse out words, identify adverbs, adjectives, verbs, nouns, etc. given a set of language. You're also able to identify whether some things are similar to each other. Both of those functionalities were what was needed for us in our pilot, and I'd like to show you some results. Okay, so we piloted this approach, this technique on 2 advertisers, a telecom advertiser and a travel advertiser. And the reason for this is we have sufficient diversity in this ecosystem that we felt that this would be useful to our other clients as well. And I want to show you results for the travel advertiser first. One thing I would like to emphasize on is to compare and contrast these results to the other advertisers. These advertisers will remain unnamed, but it is interesting to see the insights, how they vary between these advertisers for the same kind of words. So, okay, this is the travel pilot. So this is a leading luxury hotel operator. I think they operate around 300 very niche properties around the world. And what are we seeing for this? So this, by the way, guys, this is the first deliverable from this pilot, which is what are the words or phrases that actually contribute to performance. Okay, so this particular client operates two kinds of campaigns. It's your regular marketing campaigns and your operational campaigns built off of triggers. And so what do we see? So when we look at the marketing campaign, and by the way, what is a positive driver and what is a negative driver? A positive driver is one that is likely to, the presence of which is likely to improve the performance of your copy beyond a baseline. And negative driver is one which is likely to decline or decrease the performance of your copy below a baseline. Okay? And by the way, there is an asymmetric effect here. It is far more important to not have a negative driver than add a positive driver. So because the effect is very asymmetric, so you want to remove your negative drivers. What do we see? So words like save, free, sale, etc., they do correlate with higher open rates. The thing is, these are incentives and discount offerings. These are words which imply that you're getting something on a reduced price. I was surprised to see this actually. This is a luxury hotel operator, and I was like, wait, why am I seeing these as positive drivers? then you think about it a little bit more. I mean, you're looking at data from a CRM campaign, and these are people who have signed up to get potential benefits, you know. And yes, of course, they're looking to save some money on the next hotel stay, etc. Even if it's a luxury hotel. I mean, so that way it made sense. The thing is, I was expecting to see something to do with exclusivity. Maybe because if you make this offer exclusive, something you would see a higher lift. And I see that as well, in addition to the savings. So if you look at the second table, you have words like private pass, invitation, which convey a sense of exclusivity. And I am heartened to see that these two set of words do occur in this. So the idea is you take the words in the first two tables, work with your copy teams and creative teams to sprinkle more of these words in your upcoming creative, is likely to see a higher open rate. And you also want to sprinkle less of the red words. For example, you know, I do need some water. I'm gonna, if you don't mind. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not done, I'm sorry. My 3-year-old is a prolific carrier of viruses, and he was very generous in his sharing as well. So I'm just thank you. So one thing I wanted to show you is, like, if you look in the rightmost column, rightmost table, you have last minute and alerts. These are words which convey a sense of urgency, actually, and those are showing up as negative drivers. What it's saying is, like, consumers are pretty sophisticated. They know that, there's no such thing as a last minute deal. They know that these are baits used by us to draw them in. So this is their reaction. This is our interpretation of their reaction to what we send. And this is interesting to know. I mean, so we don't need to use last minute alert. I mean, we should sprinkle more of these words. The thing I want you guys to take away from this is these insights were not possible before. You could have done some testing, you could have done some copy testing, but copy testing has its costs and has negative impacts on your customers. I mean, it's a bad experience. It could lead to a bad experience. And also, when you're testing copy, you need to know which word you're testing for. If you didn't know which words are the drivers, what would you test for? Test again. So the thing we are offering is the ability to predict performance of copy and identify the words which are influential to you before the fact, before you even run a campaign. And all we are doing, by the way, the scope of these two pilots, I should have mentioned this, was for email campaigns for now, and we are just trying to predict performance of subject lines. I should have specified that. We are just taking these words from subject lines. It's a very clear measurement. There's no bias, etc. It's just pure open rate, opens by delivered, and that's why we're able to get to this. The next slide is for the same client, but this is a prediction piece. And by the way, the blurring is my attempt at concealing my client's subject lines. So if you're able to see past the blurring, then kudos to you, but I was trying something. Okay, so you have this. So what we did was, there is this technique in the world of data science and statistics called backtesting or out of sample modeling. What we did was we tried to see if we are able to predict the performance or to predict the open rates of copy before they were actually deployed. This is a proof of concept, actually, right? So we took data from 1.5 years worth of data through October 2017, and we tried to see if we can use that 1.5 years worth of data to predict the performance, the open rates of subject lines that ran 3 months later, so between November 17th and Jan 18th. So what do we see here? So you have these 5 subject lines on the first column. The second column is basically the actual open rate. This is the actual open rate of those subject lines when they actually ran. Okay? The predicted open rate is basically the predictions of this capability. By the way, this capability is called Iconic. It's my name, my attempt at branding. Anyway, so it's a predicted open rate. What do you see here? I mean, the subject lines are actually sorted in descending order of actual open rate. You see that we are able to predict that the first subject lines, which is the first ranking subject line in actuality, is also predicted as the top performing subject line. Okay, and we are also able to, if you look at the last column on the rightmost column, the absolute percent error, that's actually the percentage difference between the actual open rate and the predicted open rate. They're all very small numbers. So, I mean, the overall average is close to 10.3%, folks. So we are actually able to predict some of this, the performance of a subject line, and even some of the ranking without seeing. I mean, like if you are doing a campaign next week, we can actually tell you what your subject lines are likely to look like with a very close degree of accuracy. Okay, and that's an impressive capability for our clients. And if you find it useful, please talk to me. This is from the travel client. I want to show the one caveat with the travel client we had was they ran a small program, small subject line diversity. They didn't have a lot of subject lines. I mean, you will see with the next client, which is a telecom client, I give you that, there's a large program with a lot of subject line diversity, and the insights also are actually much more richer, okay? So I'd like to draw attention to the next two slides, which is, am I good on time? Okay, so as you can see, more tables are populated for this client. This is a telecom client. You guys know this client. You probably are their client. Okay, what are we seeing? So I want to spend some time on because of the asymmetry of these drivers, I want to spend more time on the negatives. Okay. So if you look at the and by the way, this kind of client had two kinds of campaigns which are broken out into further two subgroups, which is your regular marketing campaigns, which is your launch campaigns for marquee brands, marquee devices, and your non-launch campaigns. And they were split into Android and Apple type campaigns. So if you look at the negative drivers, if you look at the third set of results on the Android, you see that the pre-order and last minute are negative. Okay, these words are actually creating a sense of limited availability. You also, okay, sorry. I thought it was.
You're good. I think so you've convinced me that this isn't something that you can do sort of in-house, right? You need a technology partner to help you. How do you sort of overcome the price sensitivity of, I know that I'm not optimal, but I'm doing an okay job, that extra 5%, 3%, how do you convince the client, how do you price yourself so that everybody who should use your technology, which seems like everybody, will do it, right? And sort of overcome the, I'm doing okay sort of pushback.
So the thing is, it's about, you have to benchmark what you're doing. Yep. You have to benchmark what you're doing against your other competitors in the industry, okay? And you have to also qualify that against the benefit that your competitors are doing by doing this. For example, this is live across 3 advertisers. One of the advertisers actually seeing 10% improvement in open rates from a 35% open rate to a 38%. I mean, it is already a high level open rate, but imagine the extra number of conversions you can get through your funnel by getting that additional 10%.
And do they share that with you, with the extra
conversions? We measure it for them.
We measure the conversions.
We measure
well.
because what we offer is, like, when we tell them, look, when we do this for you, we want to actually constantly measure the value of a recommendation so that actually the impact is actually there. Yep. If it's not, we have to go back and refine your recommendations for your program.
And so again, how is this priced? How does it work?
Also, it's priced on an engagement. It depends on the volume of campaigns you have. Okay. So it's a subscription basis, and there are a couple of key deliverables which are very standardized. And of course, there is a human layer we layer onto this. I mean, there's a large part of this is automated. For example, one of the things it said was for the travel client, you might have noticed that the word spa was actually a negative driver, yeah, which is kind of weird. Okay, so this is what happens if you go with what the previous commentator was saying about you have those hamsters running around. If you let them run loose, this is what will happen. You have to have a human oversight layer on your AI or ML capability. So,
Pavan, look, very interesting. I think for me, the sort of the negative drivers being, so far overweight was
yeah, you don't want those guys.
Absolutely. Again, guys, if you're looking for sort of technology to help drive email and sort of all titles and really all user visible text, you should chat.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.